Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. And what another beautiful day. And so I'm reaching out to all of you, and make sure you're being positive. You know, it takes a lot to do that. It takes years to reprogram yourself. And I meet a lot of people, and I met a guy not too long ago that's dealing with a lot of things like fear. He's got a lot of fear. He admitted that he's got a lot of fear. And so we really do. We need to be careful of what we think. Not only what we think is what we say with our own tongue. And isn't this funny? Now the sun is coming out. But I'm going to keep on going because, is a lot of times when I think the shade here looks not good because the light changes is that when I edit the video, it looks great. So anyway, we're just going to go with the flow. And anyway, so be positive, stay positive. Even if you have to do what I had to do before, I had sticky notes everywhere in my apartment, even in my car, to help me. And it really did. Doing the I am affirmations, they're so important, So if you do struggle with this, and this ant wants to be Starlight's friend. Woohoo! I'll tell you what, they tickle. They tickle. So anyway, besides staying positive, is also thank you to all of you who have been here watching Starlight and being here, loving and supporting me. And I gotta say really quick is yesterday's video, I accidentally deleted the end video somehow or another. I don't know how I did that. It would have been the last short video of my message yesterday about safety tips. So I'm going to make that video again at another time, but I'm just going to let that one just go right now because today I'm focusing on a different topic, another video. So I apologize. I don't know how that happened because I do know when I was making the video that I wasn't able to finish the video because I had too much stuff on my phone. So anyway, thank you for all of you who are here loving and supporting Starlight. And also anyone that would love to send any love donations, you can through my Cash App, and I will have the information here. Ping! Plus, before I start this video, hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget the notification bell, and you can leave me a message down below, beep, 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 and you can share my videos with your family or friends. Plus, don't forget my playlist, and you can also find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. Now today's video and today's topic is about do you got the right job? How do you know if you got the right job? Some people struggle with this. I know I did in the past. I definitely did. And you know what? You know who you got to listen to the most is you. But I'm only here to help you through this time, as far as the job goes. And why are you at the job, that you have? And the reason I'm making this video is, are you there just for the paycheck? Because most people are. They are there just because of the paycheck. And guess what? You're in it for the wrong reason. Some people also they take a job. You know why? Woohoo! That I felt that went in my ear or something. The other reason is the position that they have, and I'm gonna kind of just say these names, like being a nurse or being a doctor, titles. Being a judge, being a police officer. What else? Now I'm not gonna say like being a garbage man. Nobody, that's not like a, hey, yeah, I want to be a garbage man. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It's these names, like being a military person. you know, a lot of times military people, they get that job for the wrong freaking reason. Police officers, a lot of times they take that job for the wrong freaking reason. Doctors, they get that job, you know, like, there's a lot of the people out there that they take the job for the wrong reasons. It's for the paycheck, it's for recognition. And the reason I'm mentioning this, and I'm going to put myself out here, I'm not afraid to do this, I need to let go of fear, is in this area somewhere where I am sitting, I wasn't sure, and as I found something, and it made me think there could be something bad that happened off of a hiking trail. But I'm always finding stuff, you know. I've always thought that I would find something in my life, you know, like in, so I ended up researching because there are some strange things that I've been dealing with in this particular area where I am located. And so I ended up Googling and checking out like cold cases in this area, you know. And so Starlight found a barrel. And I've watched a lot of freaking police shows, you know, detective stuff. I mean, that is what I watched a lot of serial killing stuff. You know, I was really into this stuff, hardcore. If I could watch like a police detective, you know, I can't even remember the names, but there was a lot of them I loved. I mean, if I could watch a new one every day, you know, like that is what I was really into. I always wanted to learn and understand how all these things, crime scenes and all that. Starlight even thought about getting a job for even cleaning up crime scene places, you know. Imagine that. It's all blood. Blood doesn't bother me one bit at all. But when I say that, I'm like, blood, there's other things that would bother me more, like cleaning up dog shit or vomit, you know. But so anyway, when I say these things is that I found a barrel, you know, and some ground dug up, you know, and this barrel had like somebody's clothes in it and a whole bunch of rocks in it. And I'll tell you what, you never know what the frig people are doing and why, you know, like why is this barrel here? Why did they cover, you know, nothing looked right to me, not one bit at all. And I don't know if there's anything about this barrel, and I'm just explaining this to get a point across, is that the barrel that I found was off the trail, but whoever, you know, this is the whole point. The barrel, whoever did this, they took limbs and palm branches, dead palm branches and leaves, and they covered it up, you know, so when you're walking on a trail, you wouldn't even see it. But of course, Starlight would have to find it, you know. And I've been doing this scavenger hunt video, which I didn't put that one out. I'm going to do that sometime soon. Sometimes my titles or whatever isn't the right thing for the video to really help people out. But anyway, so throughout the day I was around hiking, walking around, making a video, and I couldn't get that barrel off my mind. There was a lot of rocks and ground, you know. There's even, I didn't know about it until later, and I'm not going to share that with you right now. But I actually ended up calling the police department because I was concerned, you know. So I called the police department up, and they said to call 911. So I did everything that they told me to do. I said, hey, there's this barrel, it's got a lid, it's got all these rocks in here. You know, I'm thinking this, you know, they covered it up so then you couldn't see the barrel off the trail. And the reason I'm making this, I'm getting to the point, is your job is so freaking important, whatever it is that you do. And I believe if you have a job, you ought to do it wholeheartedly, not for the paycheck, not for recognition, not for the benefits, not for the, you know, you ought to love it, you know, every part of it. And I love every part of what I'm doing with God here. I love every bit of it, you know. So there's no regrets. There's no turning back to what I'm doing here. I love what God is doing in my life right now, the universe or whatever. But anyway, I called up the police department. They wanted to get a location on me, so I had to call the 911 number. And so a cop did meet me. He was a field officer, you know, where I guess that's what they do, is like if somebody calls up and, you know, they people wonder why people don't get found, you know. How come, you know, they can't find, you know, different cases, cold cases and stuff like this, and how come something happens to somebody and you know, people get away with stuff, you know, and people get, you know, not too long ago I did hear of a kidnapping in a location, you know. So there's all these cases of things happening to people all the time, all around the world. And this is the reason why I'm making this video is so when I met with a police officer so I had to, you know, and I just was so, from the very beginning, how this whole thing laid out, I thought it was really, you know, not really professional as far as officers go. I was thinking that they would be smart, you know, not make it so obvious, you know, not show up into a sheriff car or sheriff pickup truck or whatever, you know, a field, and, you know. But anyway, they did. I mean, the guy did show up in a vehicle for his job, and he was dressed up just like it is, you know. And the reason I'm saying all this stuff is there's so many people around in this area here. Say if there was something that really did happen and somebody was hiding evidence in this barrel, you know, with all these rocks in it and concealing it, you know, they actually covered it up so you could not see it. And I do got pictures on here. And the ground was dug up by a tree. All these rocks were moved around, you know, and things didn't look good on my side here. And so anyway, the police officer did, you know, walk with me, and I said, hey, it's my first time. I got to backtrack, figure out where this trail was, figure out where it was, you know, because I wanted to meet him in a spot where he can easily find me, and I wanted to move things along because I've been here for most of the day yesterday. And it's sad to say, you know, what the officer did when we get to the spot where I think there's something going on, you know, see something, say something, you know, really the officer didn't do shit. And it's so sad, you know. It's like what he did, I did, you know. You know, I actually didn't do anything further yesterday because I had bright clothes on. I wasn't expecting to see a barrel that was covered up with leaves and sticks, you know, with a bunch of rocks in it. And there was a set of clothes on top, you know. And that's what the whole thing was so weird, you know. And there's people that do have mental illnesses. There are people that have spirits. So you never know how they're thinking, how they're functioning. Why did they, you know, cover it up? You know, you know, that's creepy. There's been stories of this, real stories of people hiding stuff in barrels like this. You know, I've watched lots of stuff on TV. And the reason I'm making this is because, are you there for the paycheck? You know, are you there for recognition? You know, or are you there for the benefits? Because I'll tell you what, this officer that came should have took this whole thing serious, whether there was anything there or not. He should have took everything serious, just like there could have been something there. And the reason I say this is, for an example, just recently I've been going through my flash drives and I've looked at some of my old dance videos. Wow, Starlight could dance. So anyway, one of my old dance videos that Starlight did, I haven't watched it in years because you know, it's been in this flash drive. And so it is kind of funny, just like a job, right? Is that when I first watched the video, I was like, wow, Starlight, you can freaking dance, right? And so, but, you know, I kept on watching it, you know, as, you know, like 3 days or so, because the music isn't even the music I listen to. I don't even dance that way anymore. I can dance that way. But my whole point is, the more that I kept on watching that video, it wasn't as exciting as it was the very first time. When I watched the first time, I was like, like if I was a guy, I would have been like, holy shit, Starlight, you know? Just like your job. If this guy took his job so seriously and said, hey, this lady might be on something, not that she's high, but she might be right. there could be something in this barrel that this person is hiding, because the whole mindset would have been, who the blank would take all these rocks out to get to the bottom of the barrel to find out, is there something down in the bottom of the barrel? So you got to think twisted like these people that do crazy stuff to people. But the guy, all the officer did, he wasn't even concerned about the clothes. You know, what if they were clothes? Maybe, you know, because when people do some crazy shit, they get so scared. They want to hurry up and do something. And, you know, if they were on a drug or something like this while they're in the middle of doing something, and be like, oh, you know, like, I got his clothes now, and I'm just putting this picture together to get people to think a little bit, is that, you know, oh, how am I going to get rid of these clothes? I'm not going to throw them in the garbage because, you know, I've watched detective stuff and somehow or another somebody found it, and then I'm all ratted out. And so the clothes were on top, just a set of clothes. You know, a sports, I don't even know what, I have to Google that up. The reason I'm saying this is that officer should take his job serious. He should take every call serious, as that could be. And if he really took his job serious and wasn't there just for the paycheck, wasn't there just to get recognized, wasn't there just for the benefits and all these other things that go along with being a police officer, that energy that he puts out, that he's serious about his job, about solving cases, you know what? I believe God would bless him and help him to solve these cases. But when people don't take their job serious, like this officer, and take this, hey, there could be something here, you know, instead of like, oh, it looks just like a barrel of rocks. You know, all night long, all I could think of is how this whole thing laid out, you know, and how he lifted up, you know, he just looked down in there and looked and like, oh, it just looks like the freaking barrel is so, you can't see down at the bottom. So that my whole point is, why do you have the job that you do? You ought to take it wholeheartedly and do it because of your heart, because you care and you love. It's not about the paycheck. It's not about being recognized. You know, if this officer was really serious, like I said about my video, if he put that energy, full energy, in every single call that they get about a possible, like, finding evidence of some sort, you know what? The energy is what matters. But having the energy of that, you know, it's just a pile of rocks here. Whether it's a pile of rocks or not, it's a whole energy flow going on. Just like with my videos, you know, it just kind of faded, you know, the energy. Just like a photo, they say the more you copy it, it just takes away the beauty of that copy. Because I think they call it pixels or something, with all these dots, you know, for the picture. I don't know. I was learning this stuff a long time ago on my, you know, computer. But your job, you know, you take it all serious. Do the best that you can do. It doesn't mean that you got to be perfect, but why do you got the job that you have? It's about, you know, putting your heart out there. Every video I make, my heart is into what I make. You know, I love doing what I do. I do this, like, everywhere I go. I'm looking for a new story. I'm looking for a new topic. My heart is always on wanting to help people out, wanting people to have a better life, wanting people to feel the way I do, as amazing as I do. So I was really displeased with the police officer out in this area here. As far as that job, they really need to get somebody that's really, really serious. I actually took it upon myself to go to that location, and I'll tell you what, talk about being afraid. I was afraid, but I was facing my fear, because I had to get down to the bottom of that barrel to find out, is there anything down in the bottom of this barrel? Is there anything underneath the barrel? Because there's people that are out there, you know, they are out there. You don't know what's inside their head, you know, and there was, like, you know, the ground was dug up in areas in that area, you know, a grocery cart, which was kind of a weird thing, you know, there was no evidence out there that a homeless man lived out there, you know. The grocery cart, to me, You could, we could look at the grocery cart as so many different things. Shit. If there's somebody dead out somewhere, wouldn't you think a grocery cart would be a great thing to stick them into, to push them somewhere to get rid of them? So really, I'm disappointed. And this goes on not just in this area where I am, it goes on everywhere. I hear cases all the time about people with doctors, police departments, all over, because the system is failing, it's crashing. People don't have their hearts. If people really had their freaking heart and were honest at their jobs, a lot of cases would be solved. Patients would be getting the real help that they really seriously need, instead of just giving them freaking candy as a medication as candy. I am so displeased with all these things. We need to really, any job that you have, we need to do our best at our jobs that we have, and take it serious. It's not about the paycheck, because I'm here. It's not about the paycheck. I love what I do. It's a being of service is why I'm here. So I don't know why you have the job that you have. I hope it's because you care. I hope it's not like the police officer that just, hey, you know what? I had to dig down on that baby, and it took me some time. I'd actually, what did I find in the barrel? A golf ball in there. And it doesn't matter. I had the energy that the police officer should have had as far as doing his job the right way. He should have checked it no matter what, whether it's right or wrong about the whole thing with the barrel, whether there was anything in there or not. So I was really hoping to find something, because I would have brought this to the whole police department and said, you know what? We need to stop this. There's a lot of families that lost their loved ones out there in the world somewhere. I know a lady from where I came from. I believe it's a cover-up, Johnstown, New York. There's a girl, Kelly Sue Akernick. I don't know what her last name is. I can't word her last name. But a missing girl. I used to work with her. And it's because there's people. They're not doing their job. They the people start off sometimes on the right foot, but as time goes by, they fade out. They don't care about their job. They don't care about doing the investigations accurately, the way they go the extra mile. Do your that's what we're here to do, is do it right. Not to be perfect, but put your heart into what you do. That's what it's about. And you know what? God will bless you. If that officer put his heart into his job, you know what? The officer's like, wow, he really cares. You know what? I'm going to have somebody trip and fall, just like Starlight, finding something out in the woods somewhere. And then people wonder why they don't go, they could find something like, you know what? I don't want to go and call the police officers, because they don't do shit. I've gone to officers so many times in my life, and they didn't do nothing. And then wonder why things, people don't want to, even say, hey, I got, and I'm sorry to bring this up, but I need to bring this up. It's happened to me. There's been women that have gotten raped, and they had cases that they've gone into and the police officer in the department, and the police officers laughed them out of the police department because a woman went there and complained about being raped by somebody, and they did shit about it. And then people think that their town is safe because, hey, nobody's calling up about anything. Well, a lot of women and men, people have gone to the police department, but they don't do their homework right. They don't do the paperwork right. They don't want to do the paperwork. I've called the police department so many times in my life. They don't like the paperwork. That's why they don't want to really work hard, because it takes time to do the paperwork, the names. And then, you know what? To even get the information correct. You know how many times in cases with the police officers, they didn't even have my name on the police report correct. They didn't even have my name right. They didn't have, it's not just me speaking up on these cases. My daughter has called the police department. She wanted to see the police report. Freaking police report was shit. It was all a mess. They didn't even care about doing their job right. People wonder why shit is not being, if people took their job seriously, people would be in jail for raping women. They wouldn't get away with it the second and third, fourth time, and women would speak up more. Because if police officers spoke up and said, did their job and, did the report correctly, the next time another woman complains about the same man, all this stuff is accurate. It's all correct. It's not just a half-assed kind of job being done. And then you wonder why all these people are missing and how come nothing's happening. Because people don't have their heart into what they're supposed to be doing. Why are they there in the first place? Why are they there? Are they there just hey, look at me, I'm a police officer. Hey, look at me, I'm a doctor. No, it shouldn't be that. Just to be recognized. Hey, yeah, what do you do for a living? I am a priest. I'm a pastor. I'm a doctor. I'm a veteran. I'm a Marine guy. I'm an Army. The titles. If that's all you read, that you're getting the job for the wrong reason. Make sure whatever it is that you're doing it because you care and you love and you want to help out. You want to be a service to help people. You want to, if you're an officer, you want to solve those cases. That's why you always got to raise up the bar. It's easy to go back down, and not do it, It's always, you got to kind of get back up and, that's why who is ever in charge of the police department, they got to make sure people are on their shit, and they got to be, that means they got to do their shit. They got to do their jobs, making sure everybody else is doing their work. Hey, I noticed that, the police report, is the police reports being done correctly? A lot of shit happens. People I don't even want to call the police department. I'm surprised I even called up this time because so many times they failed me when I called. And I'm not here to pick on officers. This is about all of us. This is about all of us. It's about the whole point is, why are you doing what you do? It should be because you care. Not about the title, I'm an officer of the law. Yeah? What are you doing? I'm a doctor. Yeah? So what? Are you helping people or are you killing them? Because I'll tell you what, a lot of shit out there right now is not helping the people as far as the medical field goes. So whatever you do, please do it with your heart and do it full-heartedly, because that's what we're here for. It's not about the paycheck. It's not about the title. And if we all did this, this world would be a whole, people would be locked up behind jail and bars or whatever because they got caught. Because if an officer doesn't do their job right, because, do something different with the paperwork then. If it's a paperwork issue, then make it so then the paperwork actually gets done in a better way. There's got to be different ways to correct that problem, so then they just don't want to do, hey, I don't want to do all that work because shit, the paperwork I got to do. I don't want to do all the paperwork. But you know what? People could get away with shit because they're not doing the whole job like they should. This has happened many times in my life, and I've heard stories of other people going through the same shit. So this is not just coming out of my ass here. This is stuff that I've actually witnessed my whole life with stories like this. So anyway, I love you all. Really, why do you have the job? I hope it's more than just a paycheck or a title. Anyway, Starlight loves you. Namaste. Starlight loves you. Love, light, and peace. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.